Hi, I'm Michele Saumberfield. Well, it is Thursday, February 25th, 2021, and I thought I would shoot another poem reading. Now, this poem perhaps is really pushing things to the limits. I don't know, but I'm going to read it anyway. And it's called Cherry Pie by Monica Wishbriar. I love red. I love red lipstick. I love red clothes. I love red cars. I love rubies. So this is something I really like. I haven't actually worn it yet. I got it in the mail. For Valentine's Day. And actually my boyfriend wasn't feeling well for a couple weeks because he had some in-ear problem that makes him really dizzy and not feel very well. And so he was sick for like a week leading up to Valentine's Day. And then he was sick on Valentine's Day and I never wore it. Da-da-da-da. I really like it. I can't wait to wear it sometime. Okay, now little kitty thinks it's a toy. Here, little kitty. I saw where somebody had posted an ad for one of these, and they were kidding around and saying that it was like a face mask, like a COVID face mask. I don't think so. Somebody needs some help if that's what they think it is. But it was kind of a funny joke. Okay, little kitty, don't chew holes into that. Oops. Anyway, so I'm going to read a poem called Cherry Pie. And I'm going to have a little drink here. I'm not drinking wine anymore. I don't want to be drunk. I was drinking wine in an earlier video I made today, but can't drink wine all the time. This is actually my favorite drink in the world. It's chai tea. Love chai tea. I love it hot. I love it iced. I love it with a little vanilla in it. I love it with a little raspberry in it. Love it. So, okay, well, I'm going to proceed and we'll see what I can do here. Cherry Pie by Monica Wishbriar. I met you in the early hours, a stranger off the train, coming to my front porch when it began to rain. You ate and ate my apple pie and drank my lemonade. Then when it got sweltering hot, you came in for some shade. I asked you if you wished a place to lay your weary head. You said you couldn't pay the tab, and I let you borrow my bed. You rested on my pillows, you leaned upon my frame. I let you give me recompense while calling out your name. You looked at me with wonderment, I looked at you with trust. I never felt that way before, caught up in the gust. You asked of me a question, I told you you were first. You smiled and said you noticed my taut little cherry burst. I said that you were welcome to stay until the morning came. You said you had to leave before. I thought that was a shame. But when you went to open the door to leave this place behind, you turned around and changed your plans for a course of another kind. You said that you would dally again, yet for a couple more hours, and I was glad for what we had as I fell beneath your power. Oh, you did stay and please me, sir. You gave me so much pleasure. And I did heave and beg you, please, as you buried yourself in my treasure. I felt your lips caress my breasts, your hands glide down my back. I felt the pressure of your thrust, and nothing those moments lacked. I shall remember you always, sir. Oh, I will never forget. For cherry pie you ate and ate, paying off your debt. Now should you return to this quaint town, in need of accommodation, I shall oblige to serve you dessert with a tangy sweet libation. I think you're supposed to read into that. Oh, okay. Little kitty always needs in and out. She was walking around the room while I was reading, and I was really afraid she was going to start whining because she was jumping inside of a box that was over there, and then she started prowling around behind the computer when I was reading. But anyway, a wandering cat, huh? So that particular poem is obviously very suggestive, and I think it's about a woman who is saying that she really enjoys her experiences with a guy. Of course, it sounds like it's a poem about a woman who has a first experience, and the guy is nice enough or interested enough not to just run out the door. I wish I could say my first experience was that good. I got together with a guy one other time, but it was just very awkward because I basically waited and waited thinking I should wait for just the right guy. And then by the time it was my last semester in college and I was a fifth-year senior, I was like, oh my God, I just want to get this done and over with so I can have some fun. And so this guy asked me out. He was in a film study class with me, and we ended up getting together, had terrible chemistry, like no chemistry at all. But even worse, we were in his little dorm room. He was a couple years younger than I was. He was of age, but he was a couple years younger. He was tall, had a really low voice, from New York, very self-assured, seemed older than he was, but I actually did card him to make sure he was at least 18. And I was 22. And I remember his side of the dorm room was so sloppy, so messed up. He literally had to scrape crap off of his bed so he could even lie down in it. And his roommate's side of the room was so pristine. The bed was made, everything looked totally spick and span perfect. He had these little stuffed animals lined up by the bed. And there I am, getting laid for the first time and the second time in a trash heap. It was bizarre. I mean, it was not exactly mood setting, I have to say. But, so anyway, that's the poem. That's all there is. There really isn't anything more to it. But obviously, it uses symbolism because sometimes, you can call suggestive things symbolic things, and you know that if you're talking about a man's rod or a man's staff or a woman's pie, you're talking about something else. You know that, right? So I think that's one of the other things that's really creative about poetry is that it doesn't have to be literal. Of course, it has to make sense, and the audience has to be able to understand what's being hinted at. The innuendos have to actually make sense. But I think that poetry is just so incredibly creative. And yeah, go poetry. Who knew? I'm like a crazy person just discovering now in my 50s that poetry is cool. That's crazy, right? Because lots of other people have known that it's cool for a lot longer. It's funny because I'm on some different writing groups, and they're basically memoir groups, but occasionally people will say, something about, oh, I'm going to write a poetry book. And I always used to think, oh, that's nice. Roses are red, violets are blue. But poetry is so much deeper than that. Poetry can be about anything. It doesn't just have to be about romantic love, and it could be about something that has absolutely nothing to do with love or sex. It could be about a heartbreak of a different kind. It could be about death. It could be about travel. It could be about the heartbreak of leaving a country that you want to live in, or where you vacationed and it was paradise, or your hometown that was sentimental. It could be about a pet. It could be about the importance of the house you grew up in. It could be about anything, you know. It's just like music. It can be about anything. And yeah, so it doesn't always have to be roses or red, violets or blue. It can be anything. It's up to you to write it. Anyway, that's it. That poem was called Cherry Pie by Monica WISHBRIAR, and I'm just going to have some more of my yummy chai tea. The best drink ever. My boyfriend and I refer to it as brain in a cup because we always say that we can't think properly in the morning until we get our chai tea. So for us, chai tea is like most people think of coffee. Like people who say, oh, I can't function, I have no energy till I get coffee. Now, don't get me wrong, I drink coffee too. They're two different things, and I actually usually have a hot coffee in my hand and like either a iced or hot chai in my other one. They're two different kinds of flavors and caffeine. But yeah, we call it brain in a cup because we say we can't function. We're just so dependent and addicted to the wonderful taste of chai. So there you go. I don't always drink wine. Just sometimes. I was kind of thinking that maybe I've been drinking wine so much in some of my videos that people would think that I just sit around drinking wine and reading poetry, and I wouldn't be able to function if all I did was drink wine. I think wine is like a swear word. Okay. People who swear all the time, they just seem like they're out of control. People who typically have a really good vocabulary and then swear occasionally, that gets your attention. It's like an accent. Oh my God, they must be mad. Oh my gosh, they're making a point. They swore, right? And so for me, alcohol is kind of like that. Like I wouldn't want it all the time. It wouldn't be my drink of choice. For me, it's like a special thing. Like if you just need that third of a glass to relax after you've worked really hard all day long. Or if you just want to relax on a Saturday night and you know you're not going to go out anywhere else. You're not going to trip and fall down some staircase. You're not going to get behind the wheel of a car. You know, I can't even imagine if I drank very much and then I went like at 8 or 9 o'clock to the gym and I was on the treadmill, I'd be afraid I'd fall. I really would. I mean, that would be a nightmare. I'm so uncoordinated. I mean, I can walk, but if I have to think and walk on the treadmill at the same time, my boyfriend was like 2 treadmills over from me. At our gym, because of COVID, they make you be every other machine. You can't be into side-by-side machines, even if you know each other. They have them roped off. But anyway, he needed a Kleenex one night, and so I couldn't even think. I like had some Kleenex, but I went to reach Kleenex over to get it to him, and I like was totally losing my balance because I couldn't like actually walk at a brisk pace and hand him Kleenex at the same time. So can you imagine if I was drinking first? And I wasn't drinking that day. So yeah, I'm not advocating drinking all the time. And if you do, not too much, you know. Anyway, I was Marilyn Monroe during my last past life. I was addicted to prescription drugs and alcohol. So if you're wondering where I'm coming from now, that is where I'm coming from. My boyfriend is also in a band, and he's in a band with 2 singer girls, and they each got a DUI within months of each other and had to have other people drive them around for 6 months straight, and they had to pay fines. So alcohol, you know, you want to be moderate. With anything you do, you want to be moderate and sensible and think safety first. And that's my lecture. I'm old, so I'm allowed to lecture people.